Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility. That's right, you guessed it because it's Wednesday, right? It's got to be new review day here on the channel, right? Today, this episode, we're going to take a look at the brand new EP from this long-standing British progressive rock band. It's an EP. It's like 24 minutes. They've got lots of EPs. They've got lots of albums and live albums. I think all told, they have like 25 releases overall and compilations. It's probably way over 25 actually. But here in 2023, we've got this EP called North Star by Pendragon. That's right. Very cool, colorful, kind of whimsical, kind of proggy artwork here on this digipack. Only 4 tracks. Really, in actuality, it's only 2 tracks because the title track is a 3-part multi-epic suite. But if you look at it's 4 tracks, and then you have the other separate song, right? So you got North Star, which is divided up in part 1, A Boy and His Dog, part 2 is Dead as a Dodo, and part 3, Phoenician Skies, and then you have another song called Fall Away. Let's take a look here. Again, just love the artwork. I'm a sucker for like these kind of cool, like, artwork, painting, cartoony type things with animals, like from fairy tales and things like that. Although what I don't really like is that the fact they've put the booklets glued on the other half of the artwork as you open it up. It's basically this, right? But this is everything is kind of small, so this would have been the entire painting, but just enlarged. But you can't see the other half because the booklet, like I said, is glued onto here. So, I don't kind of agree with that, but whatever. Hey, what are you gonna do? I don't make up the rules. And then here you've got lyrics. There's the band right there. Look at that nice gold top Les Paul that Nick Barrett is playing. Kind of looks like the one I got right back there, right? Yeah. Nothing like a Les Paul gold top, man, I tell you. Who is in the band at this stage of the game for Pendragon, you might ask? Well, like I said, Nick Barrett on guitar and vocals, founding member of the band, always the leader of the band. Peter G., or Peter Guy, however he says his name, on bass guitar. Jan Vincent Velasco on drums, newest guy in the band, although he's been in the band for a bit. And Clive Nolan on keyboards. Of course, Clive, Peter, and Nick, in Pendragon forever. That's the nucleus of Pendragon for a long, long time. Additional keyboards and keyboard programming by Nick Barrett. Main keyboards on Phoenician Skies by John Barnfield. Keys and organ solo on Phoenician Skies, Nick Barrett. Backing vocals and violin, Johanna Stroud. All music and lyrics written by Nick Barrett, except Phoenician Sky. Keyboard parts by John Barnfield. Recorded at Charlin's Barn, Cornwall, on and off from January 22nd to March 2023. Mixed and mastered by Carl Groom. Of course, Carl Groom from Threshold. He's done some work with these guys before. Cover illustration by Liz Saddington. Photography by Rachel Barrett. Design art direction by Paul Tippett for Vitamin P Productions. So, what's this all about? Well, it's Pendragon. It's lovely, it's lush, it's wonderful. It's all the Pendragon characteristics that, if you're a fan of the band, you love are here. Right, moments of bombast, moments of tranquil beauty, love. I always had a thing for Clive Nolan's keyboards, whether it be Pendragon or in Arena or any of the other projects he's done. Just lovely stuff. Nick Barrett is such a treasure. He's got, he's got a really unique, charming, warm vocal style. He's got a little more of a higher pitched delivery, but it's so unique and so him. Very inviting. The songs float, they rock, a lot of great acoustic textures on this album. One of the things I've known forever, but you really hear on this album is what a great acoustic player Nick is. And then he comes in with these kind of like David Gilmour meets Andy Latimer guitar solos that are just tremendous. He's a great guitar player, very lyrical, melodic lead guitar style. The rhythms are really good. This is not, though, a very busy, hard rock and prog album. They have lots of that, but it's more like if you go back into their catalog and pick out some of the Window of Life and Masquerade Overture, and you like all that kind of stuff, you'll totally dig this as well. I mean, it just sounds like what you expect Pendragon to sound like. I really like the 3-part epic title track. great changes, and like I said, it goes from more symphonic parts to more gentle acoustic sections and things. Great use of vocals, and then the last track, Fall Away, has some just gorgeous kind of like classical style acoustic guitars at the beginning of the song. Really, really good. I think if you let, I'll mention Steve Hackett again because I'm sure Nick is a fan and whatnot, and you can hear some kind of Hackettisms here as well. And the rest of the track, just great keys, nice organ on that song as well, haunting vocals. And haunting is something that came up a few times as I was listening to this. It's just a very emotional. One thing about the music of Pendragon is between the vocals and just the nature of the music, because it's so melodic and so kind of dreamy. It's very it's haunting at times, and it just kind of creeps into your soul. That's one of the things I always love about this band, is that they just have that quality that you listen to it. It's just, you can tell the passion the musicians have for the music they're creating, and it kind of, you can feel it. And it becomes you as well, right? So all of a sudden, you're feeling that passion. And I've always gotten that with this band. And it has a lot to do with his vocals and his guitar work and the keyboards and just the nature of the songs. They just kind of draw you in. And that's what it's all about, right? So, 24 minutes, not a lot here. But what is here is really, really good. They have a number of EPs. Fallen Dreams and Angels is another one that's just stupendous. It's like the EPs are so good. It's almost like you have to get them, and then they stand on their own. It's like, not because sometimes bands release EPs and you'll have like one new track and maybe like an alternate mix or version of that track, then maybe a live track or two, and there's your EP, right? Which is all fine and dandy, and then they release the next studio album, and then the one track is on the studio album. It's like, did I really need to get this EP? With Pendragon, they generally release material that's only on the EPs. It's not like a precursor, a teaser to something else that's coming. It's a standalone EP. It's like, okay, well, this is what we got. It's not quite a half hour's worth of music for you, but it is brand new music. We feel very strongly about it. Here you go. That's what you get here. So North Star, the latest from Pendragon. Top-notch stuff, as always, from these guys. Very classy, melodic progressive rock, modern progressive rock. Yeah, there's nods to the 70s, but for the most part, it just sounds fresh. And when I listen to stuff like this, I think of even though Pendragon were around in the 80s, to me, Pendragon were always a blend of kind of that second wave of British progressive rock, which them and Marillion and 12th Night and Palace and IQ, right? All that sort of thing, but more so a huge part of the 90s British prog resurgence, or I should just say European in general, right? But because I think, like, I remember, like, when I first started getting into prog really, really heavy in the early 90s, Pendragon were one of the bands that I latched onto immediately, because I discovered Marillion, and these guys came out around the same time as Marillion, so Pendragon and IQ and all those bands I immediately took a loving to. And they were one of the leaders all throughout the 90s of these bands kind of creating new, fresh progressive rock music for the new decade, right? So yeah, anyway, speaking of Pendragon, Stephen Reed and myself will be ranking the studio albums of Pendragon in the not too distant future. Many of you have asked for it. We've been talking about doing it. The thing with this band, the big catalog, and Stephen and I both had to play a little bit of a catch up with some of the albums, because I had a bunch, but I didn't have all of them. And they release albums every couple of years, so it's like, it's always tough when you have bands that are still doing it. You plan to do an album ranking, and then you find out, well, they got a new one coming out in 4 months, or they got a new one coming out next year. Well, why don't we wait till the new album comes out, right? Or let's wait for the new one to come out. Then you got to get used to that one and digest that one. Then you got to rethink the catalog. So it's not as simple all the time as just do a ranking, right, on a band, especially on a still active band. That's always a challenge. So anyway, long story short, Pendragon is coming probably sometime in August, so stay tuned for that. Visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, all together, all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content as it posts. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Also down below, we got the links to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations, as well as our merch page. So thank you in advance for all your support there. 4 out of 5 star, easy for North Star by Pendragon. If you've already heard it, let us know what you think. If you haven't, go check it out. Come back, give us your assessment of it, and we'll see you here with more reviews here today. Got a whole bunch of stuff going to be getting to this week. Next week, got new Pat Metheny, new Eloy, new Solstice, got some cool stoner stuff, got some psych stuff, got big trains. Not all coming today, by the way, but Pascanel. I got the new Agusa. Got a whole stack of stuff that's going to be coming this week and next week and the week after. So stay tuned for all that and more. Till then, I am Pete Pardo. See you real soon here. Bye bye.